talk about NXT UK and how after the Worlds Collide pay-per-view, NXT UK is shutting down, or at least going on hiatus, while it gets pretty much reorganized into NXT Europe, which will start up in 2023. What do you think of this news? Amid several NXT UK talents getting released as a part of this news, basically.
I believe that this is just going to be one of those temporary releases. Releasings. A lot like when Ring of Honor folded and they didn't really know what was going on with the promotion at the time. Most of these people are going to probably come back. But now you're expanding your horizon of all across Europe and not just UK wrestlers. Europe has a great wrestling scene. Walter is the prime example of that, coming from Europe, and even though he built his reputation up in the UK. So it's going to be really interesting to see WWE and Triple H find more of that talent from over there. What I think is irritating about this, aside from the fact that you are going to have people without a paycheck for a couple months, which is terrible, especially in this day and age. And I don't know what the cap is on NXT talent or what NXT UK does numbers wise. But I think the most frustrating thing in my end, as somebody who likes continuity, you have Tyler Bate show up on Heatwave with the NXT UK title.
Before he's technically won it on NXT UK TV, yeah.
Because that episode hasn't aired yet.
Right.
So,
but they want to set up the World Collide pay-per-view. And, I guess they figured, you know what? We'll go ahead and do this. People already know that that's been recorded or whatever. People that are paying attention to NXT and NXT UK probably already know that anyway. So we'll go ahead and just put him on TV as the UK champion for NXT because we want to set up Worlds Collide. It's certainly a should we not, but I don't think it was a gaffe. I think it was a calculated decision. But I agree with you on the talents getting released. I think most of them will end up being back. I think they're released. I think the idea here, at least, is that we're not going to be doing anything with a lot of these lower level NXT UK people while the promotions shut down or on hiatus. Let's let them go. They can go make, so that way we don't have to pay them, obviously, as a publicly traded company. So there's that. But also they can go on the independent scene in UK and Europe and wherever they are and get their own bookings and make money and continue to improve and learn. And then when we start NXT Europe, we can, assuming they're not signed elsewhere, we can go ahead and get them back. So I think that's the idea with a lot of these UK releases. Certainly, I agree with you, everything you said about NXT Europe. It's just an expansion of the brand and of getting more talent. And that's never a bad thing, especially now, some 40 years after the death of the territories. So we need to get more talent.
Let me pose you a question. When was the last time you watched NXT UK?
I couldn't tell you a time I've watched it once.
Can you name 3 wrestlers on that roster?
I could name a former one. That's about it.
So, for my money, the most exciting people over there, Trent Seven, Tyler Bate, the Coffee Brothers, and I don't know if Rampage is still a part of NXT UK or not. Those are the only guys I ever cared about, but it wasn't enough to get me to tune in to NXT UK. It was very poorly marketed in the US for some reason. It just didn't have that appeal to your diehard wrestling fan who may be looking for indie wrestling outside of the country. I feel like with the expansion of the NXT Europe, if they go back and they market it correctly, this could be something that has all the potential in the world to be something very huge, and we could actually get Worlds Collide as a premium live event more and more often, especially, they talk about launching NXT Japan and NXT India. I mean, if we're going to have all these NXT territories, once a year you get your champions together and an Elimination Chamber match, a War Games match, something like that. Come on, dude, that's money.
And to be fair, NXT UK doesn't have to be big in the US. You put that on the network internationally, the WWE network, which here in the US we have Peacock now, but it's still a network outside the US. And you put NXT UK on there, or NXT Europe now, and then if you end up expanding to NXT Japan and NXT India, these are brands that are never going to do big numbers. They'll be put on Peacock, but it's not something that's going to attract a U.S. audience. So they're not going to put a large amount of advertising into it here in the U.S., but in those markets, they will be huge. And you're growing more talent to eventually be brought up to the main roster, which is a win-win. So I'm excited for this. I think it's a good deal. A little side note here. I want to discuss Shawn Michaels as a part of this, becoming an executive with WWE. What do you think of this? And becoming, I forget his exact title. Let me go find it real quick. But what do you think of Shawn Michaels becoming an executive?
It's Executive Vice President of Talent Relations.
And not he's part talent relations, but he's not Vice President of Talent Relations. Let me go ahead and give me your thoughts.
Yeah, dude, Shawn Michaels deserves it.
Yeah.
When you talk about a WWE guy, he is in the upper echelon with your Triple H and with your Undertaker. So to see Shawn Michaels in that position, man, good on him. I mean, people forget, if it wasn't for Shawn Michaels, we wouldn't have a Bryan Danielson. That's who trained him. And if that's any indication of what Shawn Michaels is able to do, especially with his involvement full time with NXT, he deserves it. The future's going to look bright for talent coming through. And goddamn, just let him run his own Twitter account for the rest of forever, though, because that tweet after the announcement about the change in the women's tag team tournament, just where he's like, hey, look, Shawn Michaels doesn't edit videos.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Right. Don't yell at me. All right. And it's Vice President of Talent Development Creative. Which
sounds like head trainer.
It's hey, we're making him an executive in the company. But a lot of these executive titles are just that, they're titles. He's probably not going to really be doing anything more. It's just now he's an executive and he gets a little bit more of a say maybe. But as a vice president, obviously a buddy of Triple H's, and you can certainly see why that happened there. But I agree with you. I think he deserves it.
Funny story. I don't know if you're going to remember this or not. Probably about 6 years ago, they put a special on the network that followed Shawn Michaels, now that he's been retired and everything like that. And he was coming in to the NXT Performance Center and helping train people just as a guest here and there. So much so that him and his wife had bought a home somewhere, I think it was St. Cloud maybe. And they had the NXT crews following him, and they were interviewing him walking down the street. And he was like, we came here on vacation. We weren't really looking to relocate or anything like that. And then I got a call from Hunter. Hey, man, you want to come in and do a guest spot? Oh, I'm retired. I don't know about it. And then I started getting the itch, and my wife saw it and told me to go do one guest spot, and that's it. You're done with wrestling. And then this is a perfect example of when you love something, how much the seed will be planted and grow inside of you to now being Shawn Michaels back full time with the company. You gotta love it.
The preceding announcement has been paid for by Bomb Media Production.